All right, welcome. Welcome, everybody, to the Sales Talk Show. I'm here with my co host, David Lammers, and this talk show is episode 4. It's brought to you by Metal Plus, clearing the way for a safer environment. Hey, David, how are you?
I'm good, Billy. Here we go again, man. Love it. This is exciting. It's go time.
We're getting good at this, I guess. It seems like with a few rounds of shows here, we're getting a little bit more smooth and kind of ironing some things out with our production team, and just having a lot of fun with it.
I think that's been the big part is overcoming the hurdles, right? Of the technicalities and whatnot and putting this together. But man, tell you, the more you do something, the better you get at it, right? So
There you
excited,
go.
excited for today's show.
Yeah, it's go time. That's the title for today's show. It's go time for those of you out there selling landscape and snow contracts. We've got two great guests today: John Tassinari from Outdoor Pride and Nicolas Corsini from Garden Grove. They're going to share some of their best practices with us and some of the things that they really use to bring home the sales. So we're excited to talk to them for a bit. But before we get into today's show, I just want to give you a quick recap on the last episode, episode 3, which was really a great show. We got a chance to hear from Jason from Metal Plus and his vision of an ideal client. And David, you and I spoke a little bit about the opportunity to identify an ideal client and what are some of the best practices. Some of the conversations were based around some of the strengths that these clients that you, the strengths of your company, how you match up with these clients. That's very, very important. Keeping focused on your market verticals. I think all of us in business, have those areas that they want to work with, clients they want to work with, and they fall into a certain market vertical, whether it's distribution, industrial, commercial, Class A office, school and colleges. So it's important as you look for that ideal client that you stay focused on what your market verticals are. And do these clients align with your company values? David, you brought that up. I thought that was an excellent point. I think there's a lot of
Yeah,
business out there to be had, but not every business is a good fit and a company to
that's
be
right.
working with.
Yeah,
And
that's a
then
key hill to
finally,
die on.
oh man, it's unbelievable. And then finally, when you do obtain an ideal client, uh, don't be afraid to communicate with them at a pretty high level and ask them what makes an ideal vendor partner, and see what they share with you and see how you can build that sustainable partnership. So those are some just quick recaps from the last show. If you do want to check us out and listen to some previous shows, you can catch us at Sales Talk Show on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. And big announcement today, David. Big announcement. We were approved to share this information on Spotify, so you can catch us on Spotify. You can scan the QR code that's on the screen now, or if you're listening, you can just look up Sales Talk Show on Spotify, and it will pop right up. I think it's the top one, so that's pretty cool. And then
Yeah,
also
very
on
exciting.
Apple iTunes. So Apple iTunes is also sharing our information on their platform. So it's great to be able to have our listeners pick that up while they're on the road, or for a walk, or whatever they're leaving themselves an opportunity to learn and grow their skills in sales. Um, David, give us a little recap on our mission, because I think that's something that we really talk a lot about, and maybe a
Yeah.
quick summary of what we saw last week, 2 weeks ago now at the symposium in
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
that's right. Yeah, 100% right. And that's what's so exciting about the podcast getting out now on iTunes and Spotify, for us to further our message and to share why we're doing this, of course, to make it easier to access our mission, which is to support the service industry by raising up the next generation of leaders. And so we're doing this to give back, to continue to support and support and develop our sales leaders through education, real world experiences, and practical learning. And part of the goal with that too is that we could also bring in our suppliers and have our suppliers supported in the process as well. And interestingly enough, as part of all of this too, is of course is our clients. One thing that I think the sales show really also brings is a level of information and support to the CRE world in what we're doing in any service sector. for supporting our clients. I think it's so important that we can use this as an educational tool as well to share experiences and real world leadership that we have. So yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun. We're excited to be doing this, and we're excited that you and I, two guys from Canada and the U.S. Today our guests too are also from our organizations, and it's cool. We're staying true to our mission too, right? As being an international show. Yeah, we had a lot of fun, didn't we, Billy? We've talked about the fact that you and I didn't meet until a couple weeks ago, and so what a hoot! What a hoot!
Yeah, and we had a chance down at the symposium. Kind of here it is.
There we are.
Just hanging out in the lobby. And
so I come into the lobby, right? You're like, oh, I'll see you in the lobby, right? And look at this.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
6'8" meets 6'3".
And it was like we've known each other for years. I think it was 5 minutes
totally.
Sitting down, checking out our attires. You're dressed up. For a conference. I'm dressed up for golf.
Yeah, there you go. Right. That's okay. I quickly changed.
Yeah, no,
it was a lot of fun.
It was hot down there. It was a hot few
sure
days,
was.
but it was a great conference. The conference itself, I'm super impressed with the organization and how well they put that event together. And it takes a whole year to plan that event. And I'm somewhat involved in the group that puts on the educational sessions. I had an opportunity to speak, which was really, really, really terrific. I was I moderated a group of professionals that went from team player to team leader.
You did a
and
great
there was
job.
just some great chatter amongst that group to share their success path and how they might be able to, coach, how the leaders in the room could coach somebody else to that same path. And then they had these nice little 20-minute segments that were out sort of in the atrium. And I was able to do a 20-minute talk on how to host a lunch and learn, and really, really good interaction there. Some great questions. And the follow-up afterwards for the rest of the show, just people coming up to me, asking me additional questions. And it's just so much fun. LinkedIn, certainly the way that you and I met, LinkedIn is such a powerful, got some really nice messages and comments on LinkedIn. So couldn't have been happy. I look forward to speaking in the future. Cheryl's already pinged me about something. So I'm sure I'm on her list now. So
there you go. I love it. Well, we had a lot of fun. And, the biggest thing is what we give, we also get, right? There's so much giving as we're together as industry professionals. We're sharing together. We're sharing our knowledge, right? We're sharing our information and our passion. And it's amazing when we give, we receive, right? We get back so much in return. Tremendous amount of networking, amazing times, amazing events, wonderful dinners. It's just an all around tremendous educational show. And, a shout out to even some of, the things and places we were, like Chuck and Betsy's, when they had everybody out to their house, and that was a lot of fun.
What a beautiful, beautiful property. We had a lot of fun there. Probably a little too much fun. Late night, the music was going, and we had a lot of fun.
I think you had a lot of fun there. I think there's something to see on that. I'm going to surprise you here. I don't know if I took this video. There you go. There's Billy having a little bit of fun.
Look at that. Oh, the big guy's got some moves.
You got moves there, man. You're going down low. There you go. Down low. Love it.
With your video. Yeah, that was in Chuck and Betsy's house overlooking the river in downtown Pittsburgh. So thanks for capturing that. That's probably not the only video that people have seen me dancing. So, but yeah, it was the networking. The conversations were tremendous, and really, really looking forward to hearing from our guests today. I think there was a lot of conversations at the conference with some sales folks, and people were interested in what we had to say and following the show. So love to see where we go with that.
I think that's a great segue to where we are today with today's show. We really wanted to do a focus today on business development. And so we're so excited to have both John and Nicolas joining us today as business development professionals, both in our respective companies and leading the sales process. Welcome, Nicolas, and welcome, John. Great to have you guys on the show today.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks, guys. This is awesome.
Thank you very much.
Something that it's just amazing, and here we are, we're in Toronto, you guys are in Boston area. And I think we're just so thrilled, right, that we can bring our experiences and our backgrounds and and marry that experience together and share it today for both our audiences, because there's really so many similarities, yet we do things differently. And that's why we're having this talk today, because we can learn from each other. One thing that I said to Billy, and it came up in our pre-show get together, was, of course, both of your backgrounds. Didn't plan this, but you both have a very strong, rich history that goes back to, of course, your motherland, Italy. So I think that's really cool. John, love to hear a bit of your background, and then of course you, Nicholas. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think when we met in Pittsburgh, I didn't realize that Billy had some Canadian background to him, and you mentioned that Nick was also from Italy. Just looking at the last name, you could tell where I'm from. But yeah, 50% Irish, 50% Italian. Both grandfathers, both from Italy, amazing. One northern, one southern. So just funny similarity. Sorry, between the
yeah. That's fantastic. I love it, because Nicholas, you both your last names end in an I, and I'm sure that's significant too, right? From the parts of Italy. But yeah, your background too, right? Very strong Italian background.
Yeah, of course. My mother's from Tuscany, so very northern Italy. Father's from Brindisi, so we got the north and the south. And it was it's nice to have been connected with John as well. I saw the last name. I go, I don't know exactly if it's Italian, because you never know nowadays. But both parents are from Italy. We go back generation to generation. So it's been a nice mutual finding here.
Oh, that's great.
I love it. And Billy, I'm never gonna forget the fact that you're from the Rock. You got part Rock in you, man.
Rock, baby. The Rock, eh?
You got the Rock in you. That's right, eh?
I gotta get up there. I've never been up there. My cousin took a trip up there last year and found some pretty cool, family heritage, and so I'm gonna probably put it on my radar to get up there for sure.
I think you said your name is on a street sign. It's like there's a street named after Butts. There's like a Butt Street.
Yeah, that's probably not the street that you want to live on, but it is what it is. There's probably a lot of other street names you'd want to say. Well, what street do you live on? Yeah, 48 Butts Lane.
Yeah. I love it.
It is what it is. So,
well, part of the intro here that I think would be really great too is, John, for you to give some background, professional experience too, right? That relates to what got you to where you are today.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think after meeting Nick, it's funny how we both have gotten to our roles with different backgrounds. For me, grew up doing landscaping with my dad, probably 12, 13 years old, and then I took a summer job through high school working for our town department, maintaining the grounds at a couple schools in town. And when it came time to picking for college, I just wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I just liked being outdoors and providing those services. So there was a path for me at UMass Amherst in Massachusetts. I got my degree in landscape contracting and environmental design. And once I graduated, I got with a firm and started out as a laborer. So boots on the ground. That was about a year or two. Moved into a foreman position, running my own crew. And I think it was about that time. So Billy and I go back a little bit. We met about 12 years ago at this company. He came in as a business developer to help grow it. And at that time, we needed more account managers. So I was asking kind of what's the next step for me in the industry, and how can I progress? So with Billy bringing on new work, that's how our relationship started. I was managing a lot of the work that he sold. So the account management was the next step. Was there for about 7-8 years. And then I moved on to a different company where it was kind of more of a commercial focus. So I had a book of business, managing commercial work, but also selling some commercial work. So that was kind of my first taste of the commercial realm, which is what we specialize at Outdoor Pride. As I mentioned, Bill and I have known each other for that long. So as he joined Outdoor Pride, we kept in touch, and he was telling me that there was a need for another salesperson. So it's almost 2 years now. Came on board working under Billy, overseeing our Massachusetts branch as our business developer and salesperson. So it's a path that goes back probably 20 years. And I know Nicholas' story is a little bit different, but that's kind of what got me here today.
Well, and that's the fun part of today's show too, right? Is you both have a very different background for being in the roles you are in our companies as commercial landscape and snow business developers. And what I love about your story too, John, is it ties in with what Billy talked about at SIMA, right? Where you've having grown up as a crew member and then a crew leader, and and saying, look, what's next for me?
Right.
Similarly, Nicholas, you've had the same, not the same background, but a similar experience of that growth pattern, right? Too. And so share a bit about that with us today too, and then we'll jump right into it.
Sure. Yeah, of course. I mean, my educational background is in business marketing. And as soon as I graduated, I from Sheridan College here, I actually looked into a 10-year commercial banking career. So I've worked with the 5 banks here in Canada, mainly focused on lending, so large corporate lending. And really, why I got into that industry was because I was really focused on the relationship side of banking. I found that banking had been a little bit more transactional. I thought that, you know what, maybe I could bring a little bit something extra into the industry. And I very quickly found a lot of success. I was really able to connect my clients together and build something out together as a mutual partnership between my clients and myself and the bank, that I was just absolutely blown away at, because it was really focused on building that partnership and the relationship within the actual client's institution or their organization themselves. And as of course, I ventured throughout my ninth and 10th year with the banks, I really wanted to pull back and reposition myself, reprioritize my business development career, really back to the basics, because that's what I'm good at. And of course, account management, I've seen the previous episode, account management, business development, although they're very similar, they're very different in many different ways as well. So I really wanted to hyper focus on that hunter mentality, that kind of full on attack type of approach. And I wanted something a little bit not so focused on the process of managing the account throughout the entire relationship, something that was a little bit more focused on, as I said, a hunter mentality, cold calling and whatnot, and really using my people skills and, of course, relationship building skills to make that early connection, really be a pioneer for the company to build something out of nothing. Of course, when I joined Garden Grove, that's exactly what I found, and it's been a pleasure so far.
It's amazing. Thank you for that, Nicholas. It's, it reminds me of why we do what we do, right? And as business developers, we're all four of us on the show today are business developers. And we all have that strong background in working with people. John, I think you said it really well the other day when we had our pre-call, right? About people love to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And that is the point of the show today. And we want to unpack that. And we're going to give you and Nicholas the floor, so that you can share with us some of those best practices. And we're going to throw it around here, kind of round table. And Billy, you can, as we go along, we're just going to, toss it back and forth between Nicholas and John. John, I thought, why don't we open today with just, if you can share a bit with the audience today on what you see as just some of the key essential business development best practices.
Yeah, sure. That came up in our pre-call the other day. Billy actually got, I think it was a summit that we had as a company, and it was a book, and it's not B2B, it's P2P, people to people. It's not so much business to business. And I think in my role here, and obviously Billy's been an advisor of mine for years, I've come up through the ranks. I understand the industry for landscape and snow, what it takes to perform the work. But I think the biggest thing I've picked up on is the relationships. And I've learned that people just truly like to work with people that they know, like, and trust. It's not always that it's the price. Obviously, that's a factor. But I think if you have a relationship with somebody and you've built on that, they'll negotiate with you. They'll kind of open up their budgets to you a little bit. So I think, one of our best practices is trying to just stay in front of these customers a little bit and get to know them on a personal level. Billy's one of the best at it. He's one of the most personal guys, but taking people to lunch, just dropping a note card on holidays, taking people to golf, things like that outside of just putting proposals together is what I think has been a success for us in closing the business. It gets our relationships a bit stronger when the decision time comes.
Yeah, it's powerful, right? And Billy, as we've experienced, right, and as you segue this to Nicholas, right, to share some of these best practices with us.
Yeah. I mean, Nicholas, we met for the first time the other day, and we were just chatting and talking through some scenarios, and you came right out and said that you wanted to change the banking industry and have it be more relationship driven and less transactional. I thought that was very, very poignant to our business. But tell us a little bit about how you take that skill set and brought it over to Garden Grove.
Sure. I mean, something that I regularly practice here at Garden Grove is to be on site as much as I possibly can, to get really familiar with the neighborhood, because our prime audience that we're going after, the people who are picking up our cold calls, are usually the property managers, the operation managers for these buildings or for these properties that we're looking at. And so if I can get to know the property, half of what they do be able to recognize that there is a railroad track down the way, there is a nice garden bed out front, and bring that type of emphasis, then bring that type of detail to the conversation. It emphasizes that we're not playing around here. We know exactly the detail of what needs to be focused on in terms of being able to service a property. And then we're able to actually build a relationship is because we validated ourselves by becoming relevant, by maintaining consistency. And something that I've really found a lot of success in is being able to network an actual city. And that's one of the efforts that I do quite heavily focus on, is being able to focus on each city within itself, really get to know the ins and outs of it, what property management groups are playing within this specific city, and really hyper focus on each one individually. It's been of course a very interesting process, a very fun process to go from banking, of course, into garden growth. But I found that practice going from the banking center, the banking industry, into landscaping and snow management, at the end of the day, we're talking to, as John said, people. We're talking to clients. We're talking to individuals. We might have, the badge might say, a garden grove. It might say outdoor pride, but at the end of the day, it's a person that's wearing the badge. Right. And to John's point, again, the huge emphasis is on building that relationship, maintaining a sense of becoming relevant, and always providing a level of informity to your client. It allows the relationship to be so much more fruitful in that sense.
You've both touched on. Go ahead, Billy. Sorry.
No, I agree. That's a great follow up to my question. Something that came up the other day for John and I. John was out prospecting, and the owner of the property happened to be at the property. So he approached John, and John, tell us a little bit about that. That's just kind of like, that's one of the wins of being out there and being in the field and getting in front of customers.
Yeah. I texted Billy. I said, it's like right time, right place. This was an existing property manager. We have some work with her. Again, she trusts us. So a new building came on. It was kind of an emergency for her. Hey, I need to get it cleaned up because ownership wants to start to do tours. So I got out there, I think the following day, and I had my laptop. I'm like, this is pretty straightforward, just a quick cleanup. Let me get her a quote. So it was chain link across the gate, so nobody could get in, but I had the code. So I'm parked there, and I'm doing the proposal, and all of a sudden these people walk around the building. So I just get out just to say who I was, and I was working with the property manager, and he said, I'm actually the building owner. So we started to talk. I told him who I was, and we worked with her at JLL. And he's like, that's great. I appreciate you getting right out here for her. I'll look at the work. We'll get it approved. And he said, why don't you ask her to get a look at our whole portfolio? So if I wasn't there and I didn't get it turned around for her that quick, and just to be personal with the guy, tell him who I was and why I was there, it led to a new portfolio that we're going to bid this coming winter. So again, it was just right place, right time, being personal with the guy, telling him who I was. And he's like, love to have you guys look at our other work.
Yeah, I love that. It's that targeting, right? It's being on site. It's the targeting, right? Nicholas, you mentioned it, right? It's regional targeting, right? Targeting by the city, right? Knowing who our customer is, right? It's go time, right? So what are some of these things that we've been doing, right? That's a great example of being on site and engaging the client. That was a right moment type thing, but I think it speaks to, of course, the power of being face to face, right?
Right.
Who are we getting face to face with right now? I think that is such a key thing as we look at it being go time, right? All spring long, April, May, June, right? It's been about getting in front of the client, right? To get ready for the next cycle, right? And that's the significance about what you just shared, right? Opportunity to bid, right? Whole portfolio. This is the beauty, right, of the relationship,
right,
that's being forged. Nicholas, you know too, right? Go ahead, Billy. You were going to say something there.
It's interesting. It's interesting when we're in business. Hunting, as Nicholas, you said, you're out there hunting. It's not like these businesses are, brand new buildings and they don't have a vendor. Pretty much everybody has a guy, right? I got a guy. Every client that we talk to is working with somebody. How do you approach that in your market where there's already an incumbent? What are some of the things that you're doing to separate yourself and differentiate yourself from the incumbent?
Yeah, it's a great question. Something that I could use as a history. When we were at the banks, everybody does the same thing. It's just the color of the logo is different. Something that I really focus on with Garden Grove is the experience of doing business. Typically, when I'll go on site, I've already spent half an hour myself reviewing the site, making my notes, and I've got questions already. And the experience of doing business with Garden Grove is something that's greatly emphasized, is because we bring a level of professionalism, detail, and really a can't fail bulletproof attitude to provide our next level service. And that's something that I think our clients really resonate with. They feel that. They feel the energy when we come on site with them. And we've got the operations team, which we heavily lean on, of course. There are our make happen kind of people. And that's something that our clients recognize very early on, is the level of professionalism and detail that we're bringing to a site is unmatched. And typically, of course, when we look at different sites that are going out to tender, that are going out for renewal, we have an opportunity to let Garden Grove shine, to really expose ourselves to the world in the sense of showing our abilities and showcasing our previous successes. And that's something that really differentiates, I think, Garden Grove with some of the other companies that might be operating within our regions, is that we focus on the experience of doing business. As it all goes back to John's point of, people do business with people that they like and trust and that they enjoy interacting with. And that's something that we absolutely focus on.
John, I love that. And that's such a good question, Billy, what you ask, right? Because everybody has somebody. How do we overcome these challenges? Nicholas, you touched on the experience, right, that the customer has with us, right? And that's so key. John, you mentioned something the other day about that relates to the onboarding process even, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to bring a client into the realm, right, into the fold of our businesses, but what's that experience they have in that onboarding process? You talked about the dotted line. I love to hear a bit about that.
Yeah. Again, I think it's timing. Billy and I were in a presentation yesterday, and we can tell the story to pitch our company and how we're going to provide services. But at the end of it, they said, if we were to move forward with you guys, what are the next steps? So we went into that process a little bit. I think their eyes opened up a bit about what was to come. So we have a 30, 60, 90 process where business developer, we're always a dotted line to the account manager once it's handed off. So there's an in-house handoff, there's an on-site handoff with the customer. It's constant taking notes and communication. So we have a mapping system where we take all the details of the property, review it with the customer, get the account manager and senior ops involved. So the customer's getting an experience before we even step on the property to provide service. And I think just yesterday that might have been the selling point to them, because we explained what they'd be getting as far as it goes for snow. We'll be on site September, October, and early November to do what we call a dry run. Get the guys that are hired out to these sites. They're going to do dry runs on the equipment. They'll know where to put snow, where not to put snow, where certain people park. All those things get logged into our system, and it's reviewed with the teams months prior to the first snowfall. So I think that's kind of our special sauce, and I think the customer was surprised that much goes into it before we're even providing service.
I think it speaks to the transition period. We're seeing that in RFPs too right now, where they're at, where the prospect is asking, how do you handle transition, right? The transition period, right? And it's interesting. I would say it's the most difficult thing that we have as companies to start with our clients as a new relationship as snow removal companies on, their first experience with us is when it starts snowing. Right. I mean, when those first ice events happen or whatever it is, right? That's when we are showing them and proving to them how good we are, right? And I mean, it's an out of the gate, no fail type experience, right? That we need to deliver. Yeah. It's significant. And I think that this time of year too, when we look at where we're at as it relates to go time, hey, Billy, it's go time. It's July, right? We got a lot going on right now, right? In sales with the team, right? Nicholas and John, let's talk a little bit about what are those sales activities we're doing right now? Just, in addition to what we've talked about today, just some of those things we have been doing and what are we doing to make sure that we're delivering sales success for this upcoming season?
Sure.
Yeah. So Nicholas, on in my experience being out there on the road, being as you said, a hunter, kind of a lone ranger, you have to build your own schedule. You have to be disciplined to do certain, activities to keep your pipeline strong. What are some of the things that you do? Maybe, how you set up your day, your week, your month to to be able to hit your goals.
Sure. I mean, it's something that's can't be overemphasized, is the organization, the time management aspect of the entire operation of business development. And what we're looking at here is, I have specific days where I'll be on the road, where I'll be picking a city, and I'll be building what I call a batch around that city of what I find, different properties, different addresses, property management groups that I see their sign outside. And I'll actually be building out these cold calling batches based on what I come across. And so, of course, we have contacts throughout a lot of different management companies. And what I'll focus on is utilizing an existing relationship and trying to expand that relationship a little bit further, city by city by city. And so, of course, time management is one of my greatest strengths. It's something that, as I said, can't be overemphasized. And typically, I'll use my calendar quite religiously. I will time block certain areas of the day, of the week, to complete certain tasks. Typically on a Monday, I love cold calling on a Monday. Love cold calling on a Friday. I feel Monday is it's exciting. Everyone's happy to be getting back into the rhythm of things. It's a nice time, and of course, everybody's happy on a Friday. It's before the weekend, so typically I like to book those as my cold calling days. Usually I'll book an administrative afternoon to address any emails, any pending items, of course, work on proposals and whatnot. But I like to be out and about in the actual market, as John said earlier, and David as well, boots on the ground, and really showing our efforts. Because of course, as John's story previously, where he ran into the building owner, that presents us with the greatest opportunity to potentially see the incumbent vendor and have a conversation with them, or have a conversation with the property manager who might have an office at that actual property. So I think that, it shows well if we can drop off a package, even a pen, something simple, a business card. We're showing consistency with our clients that we're not just going to visit this once and I'll call you later. It's something that's going to be a little bit more repetitive, and it follows a set routine.
Yeah,
John, anything you want to add to that?
I love the idea of going after certain cities and certain zones. I think that makes a ton of sense. We call it route density. So we're looking for work that surrounds existing work that we have, and just really deliberately and intentionally going after it in that manner is really, really powerful. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I'll echo that to Billy's point about road density. Nick, same thing. I try to be as strict as possible with time management, because there's a lot of different things that we have to do in our role as far as estimating, emails, networking, boots on the ground. So time management, same thing. To Billy's point, road density. Last week I just spent about 3-4 hours on the road just in one area that we service, and I've cataloged them over the years, but it's that constant touch. It's dropping another flyer. One thing that we'll do sometimes is bring in snack baskets, just a little extra. Nobody's doing that, but hey, that guy was here a month ago and he came back in. So when the RFP season comes around, that little extra might make them give us a call. So yeah, road density for us is big. David, you mentioned earlier, like, what are we doing now? I think one thing that we're kind of in that time of year where we have some RFPs, but some people don't really think it's snow season until really September, which is unfortunate. So we're trying to push that narrative earlier. But if we just won some landscape work, or these conversations that we've had at networking events, and hey, I got a building coming up, I'm asking for that RFP now. Let us bid it now. I know it's only July, but the sooner we can get it. So we have our pipeline that we track. Billy and I reviewed it yesterday, and there's a handful of jobs that we're going to get out on the street as of tomorrow and next week. We're not going to wait till August, September. If we have the work in hand that we can bid it now, that's time well used now. To mix that with the prospecting efforts, that's got to be constant. But any screen time to get proposals out early and often is one of our goals over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I can say that similarly for us as well. We're seeing that too right now, and to keep on it, right, and to get them out in timely fashion, right, so that we're first out of the gate with our clients.
Yeah, it allows our teams to work with them and understand the property sooner. If we get awarded snow in July and August, it goes back to that onboarding process that I talked about. So that's kind of part of our conversation and pitch to the customer. The sooner the better. We'll understand your site better. You'll be set for your budget. So it's tough, but for landscape and snow, we're trying to push the following season almost as that other one begins. So we're talking snow year round, but we're pushing the snow narrative in April or May once landscape services start.
Yeah, and it's important, right? We're setting the stage for operations, so they need to know what our what is the potential, right?
Right.
And what's going on. It's so important that we're ahead of that. And like you said, getting the narrative timeline moved up as well. So important so that ops can plan,
Right.
right? And all of the equipment. I mean, Billy, you talked about the equipment that's needing to be arranged just right now alone, right? At Outdoor Pride, and to
We've
get things ready for the growth. And
we've had our spring kickoff, spring cookouts after the spring season ends, and the ops guys and the field operators, people that you don't see very often, but they always come right up to John and I. What are we bidding on? What's coming up? What's new?
yeah,
Get me something close to my house. Like we heard that last week. I heard you bidding on this job. It's that's close to my house. I'm like, well, we're just bidding on it, but if it's close to your house, we'll see what we can do. So
Yeah.
that's fun for operations to be that engaged in new business. I think that's a great message of team unity there. Just them showing interest in new business.
very much so. I want to close with this, and then we'll move on from here. But I love what you do at Outdoor Pride with relationship building. You spend a lot of time with your clients. You spend a lot of time, feeding them and educating them. I think it's amazing what you guys do. And maybe even John and Billy, feel free to share a bit about what you do to get that face time with your clients, just as we close out this segment.
Yeah. One thing we call it, I think some other companies or industries might do, but a lunch and learn. A quick story. Last year, it was a property management company. We had some work with them, but we knew that their portfolio had more. So we reached out. It took a couple times to say, hey, let us come in and meet the rest of your team and tell you a little bit more about us. We have a relationship, but let's see if we can grow this thing. So our account manager, Mike, and myself went in. It was actually perfect because the property managers that met with us were newer. They were a little bit younger. They were assistant PMs. The senior PM couldn't make it. But some of the stuff that we just think is second nature, their eyes were just wide. Like, wait, you guys do that, and your capabilities are this. So it was like educating the next generation of property managers. So to get into their office, bring lunch, have a loose conversation, tell our story, that led to a portfolio bid in, I think, June or July, way ahead of schedule for them. We bid all their work. It came to some negotiation, but I think we took on 6 to 8 new properties for landscape and snow for a 3-year deal. So their budget security is there. We have that work for 3 years. So the lunch and learn is something that we're trying to do more of with existing and new customers. So just have that face-to-face, tell our story, and make it a little bit more personal. Again, break down the walls. It's a relationship. So that was just the success of what we call a lunch and learn.
Love
Yeah,
it.
we also host some of our clients at football games, tailgating. I think anytime you can get your client outside of the office and get them away from that business setting, and you get to know them a little bit more, it just breaks down some of those walls that may exist. Maybe not formally, but they feel like they exist when you're in a business setting. When you're in a non-business setting and you're talking sports or golf or whatever, tends to be a little bit more openness and willingness to become like a long-term partner, which means it has to be a win-win for both. So sometimes, talking about budgets is sometimes uncomfortable for people, but I found some of our longest-term clients are the ones that were pretty transparent with us about their budgets, and we're able to give them the most value for that landscape or snow management investment. So,
these are good investments. Nicholas and I've seen that too with taking clients out for lunch. It's a significant. It makes a big impact. And we're not talking about business the whole time. They don't want to be talking business the whole time. It's relationship building, right? And like you said, it gets them out of the office. It's been very rewarding, Nicholas, for doing that too with our prospecting and really can. And in fact, we've had it where we were told we were the first company to ever take them out for lunch.
Yeah.
So
Quite shocking.
amazing.
After many years of having vendors. Well, Billy, thanks so much, guys, for having, Billy, what a great opportunity for us to have John, of course, from Outdoor Pride and Nicholas on the show today from Garden Grove.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was terrific. I think just from the pre-show meetings we had and the interaction we had, I think you guys are going to be staying in touch and maybe sharing more ideas and more best practices. And I know you both are on LinkedIn, so if somebody hears something today that they want to learn more about, certainly reach out to these guys. They're both professionals. I think we even got a sales professional of the year amongst us here. John was
That's right.
was able to take that award home at the SIMA Symposium. So congrats on that, John.
Thank you.
Congrats, John. That's great,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Yeah. Nicholas, you're next.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're on our way. Don't you worry.
I was completely fooled. I thought I was going out surprised Billy. I thought he was getting the award. The president, Mark, was like, "We're going to fly you down. Billy's getting an award. He doesn't know you're coming." And we go into the breakfast that morning. But I will shout out the Outdoor Pride team too, because it's not an individual award. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without their support behind me. So account managers, boots on the ground, operations. We call it team selling. You know, I can only sell what our guys produce. So shout out to the team.
Great. Good stuff. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to share some of your best practices. I think this is what it's all about. This is exactly what David and I's mission is, to give back to the industry. You know, I keep saying that the tide rises all boats. You know, however we can help the industry grow, it's only going to allow us to be more professional across the industry and allow us to, hopefully, earn more business with our clients and become more profitable.
Definitely. Thank you guys for having us. You guys are doing a great job having me on the show.
Great having you guys today. Go crush it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Wow, Billy, that was great, man. Love the opportunity to have these two great guys on the show with us today, and just to learn from their background and their experiences and what they're doing.
Yeah, I think we first started planning out the shows. We were talking about, who would be on for guests. It was obvious that, John and Nicholas would make great guests, and they both just blew me away. I mean, this stuff, you and I have a little bit of a different type of personality and a willingness to get on camera and get on radio and get on network and talk and share. And those two guys just came off as industry pros at it, just answering those questions and sharing with our listeners some really cool stuff that they can hopefully take and use, as early as tomorrow. I think a lot of times when I go to conferences and speak, I said it when I was speaking, hopefully that someone in this room or a bunch of people in this room take some of this information and apply it and use it in their business, because then it becomes true value.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the point of the show. That's the point of the show. Well, a huge shout out to Metal Plus as we transition to the last segment of today's show. Here we go.
Yeah.
Metal Plus, the most profitable choice. The snow removal industry has never been more complex. To be profitable, you must choose the right tool for the right job. The Metal Plus snowplow, combined with its patented live edge technology, has become the #1 choice for snow fighters across North America, Europe, and Asia. The live edge technology allows the cutting edge of the plow to fully contour the surface of the ground. Our unique concepts have allowed snow fighters to be more efficient, reduce maintenance cost, and in turn, create larger profits. In today's market, operating the most versatile piece of equipment, combined with massive salt savings, thanks to the patented live edge technology, are the reasons why Metal Plus is the obvious choice.
Man,
love
I love that video.
Yeah, it's special. It's we had a chance to spend some time with the Metal Plus folks down at the symposium, and they just really exude the family environment, family sales environment, how they were able to tell their story to their clients and how they were able to get their product in the market. And Jason made a comment to me. He said, no matter the size of your company, we have something for you to make your business more profitable. And I think that's a crazy direct message to some of these business owners, these young business owners, that, consider the investment in a Metal Plus piece of equipment to make your business more profitable, be more productive, to, reduce operator expense. You got a one loader, 2 loaders on a site and 2, box pushers. You can convert that to 1 loader and 1 hydraulic wing pusher. That's a pretty big savings. And they're right there with all their information ready to share with you. Bob Green, we met Jimmy, the owner. Just a lot of fun down there at the conference and eye-opening for me. So
yeah, looking forward to being with them in Quebec too, at their plant in the near future for us to learn more about them and their products. They're launching a live edge version of the plow for 3/4 ton pickup trucks, which is very exciting as well. So guys who really enjoy using pickup trucks for their clearing, there's going to be a 3/4 ton version of the Live Edge
Oh, that's
available as
great.
well, which is very exciting.
And then, so, this show flew by. There it was, all of a sudden we're here at the end of the show, but wanted to share our next show, episode 5. A lot of times, business owners, a lot of business owners, small business owners, medium, large business owners, they're asked to wear multiple hats. And typically that's an operations hat, that's a human resource and hiring and recruiting hat, that's a banking hat, but it's always a sales hat, right? I think every business owner that's ever grown their business has always been responsible for sales. So we're going to have a guest on that's going to share some of his thoughts about being a business owner and being responsible for a sales pipeline and trying to find the time management skills to definitely take care of both items on the to-do list. That should be fun and exciting to hear how people are getting that accomplished.
Yeah, I mean that's the root of the business owner, right? That's the hats, right? That get worn. I know from being one, and from all the businesses that you've built. That's just the way it goes. You
Yeah,
know?
that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for
You
sure.
know,
Well, this
huge
is
shout
a
out
great
to
show,
our
David.
yeah, huge shout out, Billy. Like to you, thanks to you, and lots of fun. We're having a great time. It's been a great show. And great shout out opportunity right now too, just to Metal Plus as our title, but to SIMA as our alliance partner and Landscape Ontario. And we're looking forward, of course, to getting together at the end of July in
Yeah,
Toronto.
got to make my way up
On
to
July,
Canada.
love
Had to
it,
check
man.
my passport, make sure my passport was up to date. I thought about that the other day. I'm like, wait a minute, when's the last time we used our passport? Maybe to Aruba a year or so ago. So passport's in order. Flights are booked. Hotels. I'm
It's
excited to
great.
meet Paul and the team and Nicholas in person
Yes.
and get over to the Snowposium. Had quite a few conversations with some fellow Canadians that were excited that they're hosting this event. I think it's been an event that's been growing for them over the years.
Hmm. Very much so.
So
Very
that
much so.
that
So
should be
this is
fun.
a nice local and somewhat regional focus, which is great. And it's a growing show. So excited for you to be here as well and to share and to meet some of course, the new friends that we've met in Pittsburgh and to continue these relationships. So yeah, very exciting times. So yeah, looking forward to that in the next show in August. And I think
Yeah,
that's a wrap.
that's a wrap. Thanks for everything. Thanks to our listeners. Appreciate everybody sharing. If you have a chance, follow us on LinkedIn. We got the Sales Talk Show on LinkedIn. Give us a follow. I think we're up to 125 followers, so it's been pretty fun seeing that number grow. And again, we just want to give back. We want to help you grow your business, grow your skills, grow yourself personally and professionally. So appreciate everything, David. It's been a lot of fun, and look forward to seeing you in a
Likewise.
few weeks. Take
Catch
care.
up soon. Take care.